Good evening, everybody. How you doing? And happy Wednesday, September 27. Well, if you haven't been paying attention to the news lately, this young man finally got released from North Korea. So the question is who is this clown? What do we know about him? Well, I'm just gonna do this the easy way here. I gotta figure out where it's at now. Hold on a minute. I wanted to play this one. I don't know if it's gonna let me do that or not. Okay, it worked the last time. I don't know why it's not doing it this time. So give me a half. Oh, this is Military Times, that's why. Alright, so getting over here to Military Times. I think this is one. Is it? Yep, Military Times. This article just came out today, as far as I can tell. Maybe yesterday. The family photo shows a portrait of the American soldier Pvt King displayed at the home of his grandfather Carl Gates, Wednesday, July 19, 2023, in Wisconsin. Now this is his graduation picture that everybody gets, so they can put it on mom's wall, make her feel proud. Well, for those of you that don't know, Pvt King bolted into North Korea while on a tour of the DMZ, which is the demilitarized zone, better known as the 39th parallel between North and South Korea. We got the bottom half and Russia got the top half. He took a stroll across the border on Tuesday, July 18. So here we are, July, August, September, October. That's 4 months. He's in custody of the North Koreans. A day after that, he was supposed to travel to a base in the U.S. Now, I'm not sure if he's PCSing from North Korea and coming home, which that fairly well could be, considering it was, what was it, graduation date? 20, where are we at here? July 1923? Yeah, it could be. If he's a National Guard, very well could be. But it doesn't really say much about that. Okay, I'm going to get that out of the way so I can scroll here. Seoul, South Korea, AP News Network. The American-led UN command said Monday it has started a conversation with North Korea about the U.S. soldier who ran into the North last week across one of the world's most heavily fortified borders. Now, there was a podcaster that did a recent YouTube video dealing with child trafficking from North Korea and how that all transpired. She got lucky and escaped, and by way of coming across the Himalayan mountains and that direction. And the odds of getting out on the north end of Korea are slim to none because of the weather. And when he asked her about South Korea, she just laughed as she goes, "You got to be kidding me. That is the most fortified area. Every military soldier is down on the south waiting on the U.S. to come across that border. Basically, like us, when we were in Germany, we were waiting on Russia to walk across that border and kick our butts." So, that if you have that picture in your mind, that's why they're saying heavily fortified border. Andrew Harrison, who is a British Lieutenant General, 1-star equivalent, who is a deputy commander at the UN command, refused to say when the conversations all started and how many exchanges have taken place, whether the North Korean responded constructively, citing the sensitivities of the discussions. He also declined to detail what the command knows about Travis King's condition. I'm sure he probably got his butt kicked. If it's like anything else, they threw his butt in a prison and let the prisoners kick his touche all over the jail floor. There are no beds, there are no comfort. There is no toiletry. You got a cement slab on 4 or 3 sides and a gate. None of us know where this is going to end, according to Harris, during the news conference in Seoul. I am in life an optimist, and I remain optimistic. But again, I will leave it to that. You chicken. It wasn't immediately clear whether Harrison's comments referred to meaningful progress in communications after the command said in the statement last week that it was working on it. Yeah, no, we weren't. We had everybody else doing it. Its North Korean counterparts. I'm sorry, let me reread that. In communication after the command said in a statement last week that it was, quote unquote, working with, end quote, its North Korean counterparts. Okay, I didn't know they had counterparts. The UN command, which was created to fight the Korean War, has remained in South Korea to supervise the implementation of the 1953 armistice that stopped the fighting in the conflict of the Korean War. The contact happened through mechanisms set up under the armistice. Harrison said that could refer to the so-called pink phone, a telephone line between the command and the North Korean People's Army at the border truce village of Panmunjom, where King crossed. In other words, those blue buildings that Trump stood across. The Koreans are still technically at war, since a peace treaty was never signed with South Korea. The U.S., which fought alongside South Koreans and other allies during the war, never established a diplomatic relationship with the North, but the line is a common way of communicate. Yeah, you yell at each other. North Korea has remained publicly silent about King, who had crossed the border during a tour of Panmunjom. While he was supposed to be heading to Fort Bliss, here we go. He was coming back stateside, following his release from prison in South Korea on an assault conviction. Even better. So he escapes to go into North Korea. And this is the thing that the news didn't tell you about. Number one, he's already come down on court-martial charges, and he probably was convicted of it going to Fort Bliss and to be serving his time at Leavenworth. Go figure. Or they're going to process him out with a BCD, bad conduct discharge. And either way, he doesn't want nothing to do with it. So what's he do? He skedaddles. And he goes across the border. There you go. That was a smart choice. Go from bad to worse. U.S. officials have expressed concern about his well-being. Well, yeah. And said previously that North Korea ignored requests to go away for information about him. I'm not going to admit to it. Analysis say North Korea may wait weeks or even months to provide meaningful information about King to maximize leverage and add urgency to U.S. efforts to secure his release. Some say North Korea may try to wrest concerns from Washington. Well, that's going to be useless. such as trying to release the United States, cutting back its military activities in Korea. Yeah, good luck with that one. So yeah, that's from the Army Times, and it continues to go on a little bit more here. King's Crossing came at a time of high tension in the Korean Peninsula. Yeah, no kidding. Where the peace of both North Korea's weapons demonstrations and the United States combined military exercises have intensified in a trifecta cycle and tit for tat. Yeah, we had us, North Korea, and Russia all playing games out there in the water. On Monday, South Korea military said the nuclear-propelled U.S. submarines arrived at port on Jeju. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, folks. All you squids out there, you know the name of it. Jeju Island. The arrival of the USS Annapolis adds to the Allies' show of force to counter North Korea nuclear threats. Or they needed gas, one of the two. Last week, the USS Kentucky became the first U.S. nuclear-armed submarine to come to South Korea since 1980. Let's see here. North Korea reacted to its arrival by test-firing a ballistic cruise missile in apparent demonstrations that it could make a nuclear strike against South Korea and deploy U.S. Navy vessels in a drop of the hat. Like I said, tit for tat. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. North Korea's defense minister also issued a veiled threat saying Kentucky's docking in South Korea could be grounds for the North to use a nuclear weapon against it. Really? North Korea has used similar rhetoric before, but the statement underscores how strained the relationships have been and still are now. The United States and South Korea have expanded their combined military exercises and increased regional deployments of U.S. aircraft and ships, including bombers, aircraft carriers, and submarines, in a show of force against North Korea. Let me say that again. The United States and South Korea have expanded their combined military exercises. So yeah, it's definitely a tit for tat type thing, which has test fired around 100 missiles since the start of 2022. What president was in charge? You all know that answer, don't you? The Annapolis, whose main mission is destroying the enemy ship and submarines, is powered by a nuclear reactor, but is armed with conventional weapons. So they say. The Annapolis mainly docked at Jeju in to load up supplies, which is basically when they're there. They need food and fuel. But Jang Do-young, a spokesperson for North Korea's Navy, said the U.S. and South Korean militaries were discussing whether to arrange training involving the vessel, the submarine. More than likely, what they were going to do is open the hatch and say, "Come on, kiddies, it's a tour time. Come on in and I'll let you see." For the Navy, so they can see what they're getting into. Alright, so that was that one, and I hope that you guys got to see it. If not, you got to hear it. Alright, so now we're into North Korea, and I'm going to see if this is working here. And I think it might. Let me pull this off of here so I can see what I'm doing. Alright. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. So let me do the settings again. preset, share my screen, and where are we at here? Latest news? I think it's this one. Should be that one. Yep, okay. So we got that one. And we're going to share that. Bingo. Alright, so I'm going to get me out of the way. And I'm going to enlarge that. And I'm going to read along. Well, then again, maybe not. Hang on. I got to exit full screen here. Alright, so we'll do this the other way then. Alright. From CBS in Detroit, Pvt King, the U.S. soldier who crossed South Korea border into North Korea, made it back home to U.S. custody. And I'm going to let her do the talking because my voice is going out. So, hang on. And I don't know why this is not working. Let me know in the comments if that is working.
Demilitarized zone,
Ah,
and then
there we
suddenly
go.
sprinted into North Korea.
Alright,
But
now that we
day,
got
he
that
was
fixed,
supposed
let
to be
me
on a plane back to the U.S. to face military discipline after.
Well, tonight, Army Private Pvt King is back in U.S. custody 71 days after crossing into North Korea. Pyongyang deported him with help from Swedish diplomats who arranged his safe return via China, where U.S. officials met him before heading to a military base in South Korea. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer has the new details from Tokyo.
Tonight, Pvt King is on his way home, in good spirits, according to one U.S. official, and looking forward to seeing his family. King has already spoken with his mother, her spokesperson told CBS News.
Everybody is overjoyed that this is a large, very close-knit family. They have been desperately worried about him.
Thanks Sweden and the People's Republic of China for their assistance in facilitating that transfer. He is now on his way to the United States, and we expect him to arrive in the coming hours.
North Korea said the 23-year-old was being deported because he had illegally intruded into the territory of the DPRK, claiming ill feeling against inhuman maltreatment and racial discrimination within the U.S. Army. Back in July, King, seen here in the black cap, joined a tour group at the demilitarized zone and then suddenly sprinted into North Korea. But that day he was supposed to be on a plane back to the U.S. to face military discipline after an assault conviction. Now King is finally making that journey. And having been declared AWOL by the U.S. government, he may face further consequences. Why North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un decided to deport King now is a mystery, but the U.S. says there were no strings attached.
We did not give them anything. We made no concessions as part of securing his return.
And Nora, the fact that China played a pivotal role in Pvt King's return is one more sign that it is committed to warming its frosty relationship with Washington.
Elizabeth Palmer, thank you.
And there you have it on that one.
Researchers looked at data from more than 90,000 people in the UK who wore a device on their wrist that tracked physical activity. They found having a daily routine isn't important, but getting the exercise is.
We detect activity on your watch.
All right,
on
so
Monday,
we got that.
per
Let's
se,
get
2
that one out of
hours.
the way
That's
now.
no.
And let's go to ABCs. And let's see here what they have to say. Which would probably be the same thing, so just
to
hang
face
tight here.
charges from the Army.
Oop, gotta start over. We gotta commercial ad, so I gotta let it go by, or YouTube's gonna really jump all over me. So just be patient here, and we'll let that do its thing, and then we'll get it started real quick. Alright, so hopefully. As well as everybody doing this week? I haven't seen you guys, I haven't talked to you. Jump on in here and feel free to make a comment, and we'll be more than happy to share with you guys what's going on here. You know. Alright, we got UAW. Oh yay. Mr. Biden and his thing was in town, for those that you didn't know. Auto, and then we got the Trump foul up. Yeah, well, that one's going to be interesting to watch on Court TV. Watch. Oh, and then we got the good one. Amazon and their pricing. That one was hilarious when I heard that one. You know, they're getting sued by the FTC, with all people to nail their butt to the walls. Go figure, huh? Alright, so let's get in here. Are we ready?
In larger numbers, even if the ratings aren't necessarily going to be as high tonight?
No. Not yet, you booger butts. Alright, so we're going to just go ahead and read this one. It's so much easier. Alright, so Pvt King, you all know. You know, I'm looking at his uniform, and y'all gotta look at this. This is kind of weird. You know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but alright, where am I at here? Okay. Reshots, that's what I want. Share screen. ABC. Is it that one? Yeah. If you take a look at his what do you call it, his uniform, right here. Right here. Does that look like a tab to you guys? Now, this one here matches this one over here, but I've never seen the uniform with a blotch like that one. Now, granted, the Army does some weird shit with their new uniforms. I don't like the design. I'm from the old school where we had the pocket and the vertical line, not this slanted crap. You know, that was always for the Marines. You know, the gung-ho Charlie guys. Alright, so let me make this a little bit larger for you. That should work, I think. Maybe not. Now I gotta go undo this. I don't want that. Alright, so let's go this way. Hopefully you guys can see it. I can't. But it looks like it's fairly large on my screen, so let's go with it. King, who is 23 years of age, has been I hate to even say this word because that just irritates me. King has been a cavalry star. Try that again. King has been a cavalry scout. In other words, this guy's mechanized cav or air cav. More than likely air cav. But I'm not sure. Although 7th, or not 7th, but the 2nd Battalion does have mechanized Stinger missiles. And they're basically like the APC, but on an uglier platform. For those of you that are like me, that are old school, the M113s, these replaced those. Alright, so King, who's 23 years of age, has been a Cav Scout. There it goes. Scouts out, baby. Probably 19 Delta, but I doubt it. In the U.S. Army since 2021. It had no previous deployments. All right, so that answered that question. He joined, got offered Korea, jumped on the bandwagon, and got that money. Oh, gotta love coffee in the night. All right, so he jumps on the bandwagon, hauls butt to South Korea, gets off the plane, gets knocked over by the odor. Trust me, it's odor. They don't have fertilizer, they use human feces. According to the Army spokesperson, Bryce Doobie. King spent 47 days, oh, whoopee, in a South Korean jail. Really? Could have sworn it was a lot longer than that, but okay, you say so. 47 days in a Korean jail. Hell, you get more for DUI around this joint after an altercation with locals. Really? Altercation with locals. Makes you kind of wonder who he got pissed off at. Because that sounds like a downtown situation there. Or he got into a fight on base. But here again, you got a conflict because one's saying one in Fort Bragg, and then you got this one over here. So I don't know what's going on. And was released in June, according to the U.S. officials. Yeah, he just got out this last week. And here we are, what, June, July, August? That makes sense. Am I having trouble here, or is everybody having trouble with this? Dates just don't make sense, or these guys don't. But then again, it's, ABC News. Okay, so let's start over, and let's just jump right into it. Well, hopefully it'll clear itself up. King, who's 23, has been a Cav Scout with the U.S. Army since 2021. It's now 2023. That gives him 2 years in service. Had no previous deployments, overseas deployment, 2 years. 1 year to go before ETS. According to the Army spokesman, Bryce, King spent 47 days in a South Korean jail after an altercation with locals. Question is who? And was released in June, I assume, of the same year. I don't know. According to U.S. officials. After about a week, where we go here? Oh, I hate it when they do this. There we go. I gotta come up. That's what threw me off. After about a week on the U.S. base, completing out processing, okay, here we go, is getting ready to come back. After about a week on a U.S. base completing out processing tasks, in other words, he's PCSing, permanent change of station paperwork, King was escorted to South Korea's Incheon International Airport, where he was to board a flight and end up at Fort Bliss, where he most likely will face separation. Okay, now it's starting to make sense. He got in that fight, busted in rank, you're going home, BCD, get the F out of my country. Makes sense. Alright. Where he most likely will face separation from the U.S. Army, official told ABC. The escort walked with King as far as into the airport as possible without having a ticket. Got up to the security and said, "See ya, my job's done." Parting with him at the customs or security checkpoint. Now normally at that point, they're supposed to take over, TSA equivalent is supposed to take him in custody and get him on board that flight. Instead of boarding his flight, King at some point left the airport, slick, joining a tour of the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, the heavily fortified area separating North Korea and South Korea. King broke from the group, then willfully, and without authorization, crossed the military demarcation line of the 82nd parallel. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said 2 days after the July 18 incident. On the North Korean side, King was driven away in a van. Well, yeah, they took him into custody, duh, and is believed to have been taken to the capital city of, don't even ask, because I ain't going to try to pronounce it. You guys can figure out what this word is, because I don't have a clue. More North Korean stonewalls. U.S. on status of detained soldiers. Yeah, okay. They're beating the crap out of him. He's trying to give them information, and I'm sure, just like we did when we were in East Germany, loose lips, sink a ship, keep your mouth shut, everybody's listening. Every time you turn around, you don't know who you can trust. It may look like a pretty girl, that's a Russian. So, what they don't need to know, they don't need to know. Keep your mouth shut. OPSEC, Operation Security, classified information. Does not go off this base. Get my drift? Close your lips. I am absolutely foremost concerned about the welfare of our troops. We will remain focused on this, and this will develop in the next several days to come, Austin added. U.S. officials say they remain concerned for King and to have no knowledge of his well-being. Well, yeah. So there you have it. I mean, that's kind of the gist of everything that was going on here. This guy's an idiot. So I'm sure that he's going to be probably serving some time somewhere. Because he sure as hell ain't going to come back in the military. Now, the bad thing about a BCD, his parents are going to have to bury his butt in a public cemetery. He does not get any type of medical, nor will he get any type of burial, headstone, nothing. It's like you never existed in the military. So that's where that's at. You know, welcome home, idiot. All I can say is, I was proud to serve, and I did my time. You know, I gave it 10 years, and I stood on that border of East-West Germany. I've watched people come and go. I've watched people die. And that was the name of the game. You know, South Korea, North Korea, what you don't know, you know, they do take pot shots at each other. It's not us. It's the two Korean armies will take pot shots just for fun and games. But yeah, it's one of those type of things that you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen out there. And these kids today, you know, you got to be. I'm trying hard to be tactful here. I'm trying very, very, very hard to be tactful today. This new generation has got to learn that if you join the service, it's an all-in thing. It's an all-in thing. You know, they teach you, well, let me put it this way. They taught us old school, that there ain't no choice. That borderline is there for a reason. If they come over here, we got 10 minutes. We're dead. All we are is a stopgap so that they can get on the bird and get the hell out of this country. That's all we're here for. We're not here to stop anybody. We're just here to slow them down and irritate them. Because like they said, they got nukes pointed every which way, and you know that airport is #1 target. And they will wipe their planet right out of here. You know, there won't be nothing left. You know, the North Koreans have always wanted to get into that bottom section, just like Russia wants to take over Ukraine, because they got their panties in a bunch because they lost that. You know, and it's going to get ugly, you know. But When I saw that today, I just knew there was more going on than what met the eye. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. If you watched this, regardless if it's live or later down the road this week, do me a favor. Make a comment. Tell me what you think should be done with this idiot. And let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts and your experiences. Would you have ever thought of doing something this crazy? I know I wouldn't have. So until next time, thanks guys. Been a pleasure as always. See ya.